Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here again. It's Friday, TGIF. You made it through another week, and you know, being retired, the weeks are pretty easy for me, but I had a rough one this week, so I can sympathize with any of you who work and have a difficult time. And when Friday comes, you just want to kick back and just Calgon take me away. Remember those commercials? Anyway. I ran into a couple things this week. I had a lot to do. It's our last week of really good weather to take care of some of the projects I've been putting off. I still have a bunch of things to do. You're always scrambling right before the winter time comes. One thing was I was putting up my flag the other day, as I do every day, and all of a sudden I'm halfway up the pole with the flag, and the cord frayed and got stuck around the pulley on top. It's jammed up. I could not get it off, and I had to take the flagpole out of the ground. Now, this is the cord that came with that kit, the flagpole, the flagpole accessory kit. Came with the pulley and the ball on top, but it came with this cord. And this is why you never use nylon for a cord outside. Nylon disintegrates with the sun, but here you can see it just unwove, and that's what got caught in there. Can you imagine? This cord was fine. It just happens like that. So that's why, thank you, China, for another great product. And this is why you don't use that outside. That's why if you're thinking of putting up a flagpole, you've got to make sure that it's the type that you can either collapse it if you want, or you take it out of the ground. You do not cement the flagpole in. My neighbor did that. And, there's no way to get to the top, or there's no way to paint the pole if you had to, unless you have a kind of a scissor lift or something, which a lot of us don't have. So I had to take it down, and then, but I put it up a little better, and then had to get it straight and plumb, and everything. So that was a job. That was a day's work. And then, funny story. I'm sure that a lot of you homeowners out there will be able to agree with what I'm saying now. A lot of times you have jobs that you have to put off, and there's always work when you own a home. There's always something to do, and always something you're putting on the back burner or whatever. And a lot of things can interfere with getting the job done. Like I wanted to do my front porch. I've been waiting to do for a while now. I was on the fence. Again, I'm not staying here. I'm in the process. I'm looking for another home. I just can't find anything I want. I want a huge basement, a big shop. I want, I want these things, and I'm not going to compromise. Sometimes you're better off just waiting until you get the right one. I got people dying to buy my house over here. I get realtors banging on my door all the time. I said, I got no place to go. What am I going to do? Sell my house? And then, So anyway, my front porch needed to be done, and so I was going to do Trex. I want to do Trex, and I'm not going to go crazy. I would like to do, like a cement or something like that. But, it's a lot of money. And what happens here in my town, anybody who knows the way big cities are, any of these old homes, what they do is they buy them up, they rip them down, and they put up a 3-family, 4-family house, something like that. They did it. Here down the block from me, there was this is what the houses used to look like years ago along my block. They were beautiful homes, and they rip them down, and then they put up, cement attached brick attached houses, and that's it. They go from 1 family to 7 families in the same spot. That's what they do here. So there's no sense in going nuts building, on my home, because, eventually somebody's going to rip it down and put up a bigger one, whatever the case. So when I wanted to do my porch, you kind of, you put it off or whatnot. So I had planned to put the Trex in, that plastic material, but then something changed 8 months ago. We all know it changed. And the prices of everything went skyrocket. The oil goes up, then Trex goes up. So I said, I'm not going to buy that stuff now. It's like twice as what it was. It's bad enough it's going to cost me 2 times as much to heat my house this year. Twice. I go through, that's my biggest expense. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm just going to, right now, I got to get the steps done. So I tore off the old steps, they were rotted out, but again, I was supposed to do it in the spring, and I put it off to the fall. Now I'm not going to do it now, so I'm putting it off till next year, but I have to do something. It won't go the winter without it. So I had to put new steps on, and you could see I had to rip off the you know, the old steps and just put something to last me a year. Let me show you what it looks like. Okay, so you can see here, we got a mess of a steps. I know. And, you know, the same thing with the porch. It's got to be ripped up. But there's, you know, again, like you know the story, so won't go through it again. But here you can see the rot and whatever. And it's, you know, it's getting to be a little bit unstable, whatever. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to rip off the boards here. We're going to look in and Jesus, look at what we got here. Now, you guys who have done old houses, worked on houses, you know exactly what kind of can of worms every time you open it up, right? But you know what you got to deal with. If you think you're just going to put boards on, you're crazy. So now you got to reinforce the steps. Here we did some sistering, you know, it's called sistering, pressure treated sistering, and then everything's been screwed up and, you know, it's strong, it's solid, and now we're going to put on some pressure treated decking. Okay, we're all, we just got to put some paint on here. We're going to use an oil base, but the problem with pressure treated, it comes wet, so you got to let it dry a couple days before you paint it. But the stairs are strong, they're solid, they're good to go for another winter. So, as you can see, I'm pretty beat. This has been a rough week for me, and today, and I'm trying to get the videos in, you know, on top of all that. So today, I'm going to do a project from a good friend of mine by the name of Scott Doerger. And Scott's from Denver, Colorado. And he spoke to me a long time ago, Scott, and he says, look, I got something to say. I know you're not taking any things from the viewers, you know, but I got something I want to send you in the future. And if it would be all right. And this was months. I said, sure, you know, and we spoke back and forth, and then just last week he says, I'm ready. Are you ready? So I said, yeah, sure, you can send. So he sent, let me show you what he sent. Scott really, he sent, so let me show you what it is. Now, Scott wanted to give a heads up to everybody, all the subscribers out there, about this great place he found called Surplus Tools and Commodities out of Denver, Colorado. And this is, he says, it's like an old-fashioned, it's like 75 years old, an old-fashioned hardware surplus place that has everything you can imagine. And they got all kinds of new old stock. If you're in the area, you got to go. They're going to be closing down in, you know, 2022 sometime. So get there now. You got, if you're in anywhere in the area, make a road trip. He said it's worth it. There's all kinds of cool stuff. And I wish I was closer. I would definitely be there. It looks like such a great place. And Scott, thanks so much for turning us on to that. Let me show you what Scott sent. First of all, he sent a nice pair of new old stock. Look at these. I think these are 346s. New old stock. You don't see too many new old stock channel lock, right? Look at that. With the old stamping, the solid stamping, not that engraving stuff. That, yeah, 346 you could see. But look, it's got the handle embellishments. They don't usually do that. But isn't that sweet? Look at them. You know, the channel lock. I'm a big fan of channel lock because they're a family-owned business. And they don't compromise. You know, they're still using the good steels and things like that. But love that company. But check this out. This is something else he found. I don't know if he found it in that hardware store. Maybe he did. But look, everybody's always asking about the grips. Now, you know how I'm a big fan of Klein coats. These are channel lock. Same thing. I think they're tenite. Which is, and you could see here. Now, why don't Channel Lock make these anymore? That's what I want to know. Channel Lock Incorporated, Meadville, USA. A lot of people are asking me, I hate that plastic dip stuff. That stuff just isn't, it doesn't work. It's not thick enough. It's, you know, it chips, whatever. This is the same as the tenite Klein coats. You dip them into hot water, you bang them on, and look, it's got the Channel Lock. And great, how nice are these, you know? I wonder if he got these at that place. So really cool. Okay, next up is my favorite item by far that he sent, and this is just the coolest thing ever. He does he's a woodworker, Scott is, and also besides woodworking, he must have a 3D printer, because look what he did. He made a Scout Crafter, 2 sizes. Nameplate, and check out what he does. He squeezes it, he said, in a vise between you know, with some leather and dampened leather. And you know what happens when you damp leather, you know, you make leather damp, it embosses it. How cool is that? Look, he made this, you know, and he put the stitching around, you know, the that's like a stitching tool that he did around the outside. Is that not absolutely phenomenal? He made a couple of these. This one here, he finished off with like a beeswax. So you could put these on. I think that's just the coolest thing ever. Is that not amazing? I'm just shocked by how beautiful that is. And, you know, I'm telling you that he could make a pretty penny selling these to guys that, you know, want to have their name or their channel name or something. That is just out of this world, and I was so happy to have this. That is the best thing by far, Scott. Now, Scott also sent a nice package for my girlfriend, which we didn't open yet because I want her to open it. I'm not going to open it and see what it is, so that will be coming up soon. But I wanted to show you this. He sent as kind of a, you know, we all like to see restorations here, so we're going to do this today. It is a Williams breaker bar, and you could see how, you know, it looks. It could be new old stock, I'll tell you the truth, because, you know, from banging around and shelfware. But you remember here, it's got one issue, and you know how this swivels? There is a little detent, almost like a ball detent on the bottom, that should engage it, that little notch there, and then lock it at least in one spot. But we're going to see if we can loosen it. Otherwise, it's in absolutely perfect shape. I mean, it just needs a little cleanup. We'll do that. And then he sent these two. We probably got these at that surplus place. Look at this. I love to find stuff like this. See this? It probably even military, because they used to wrap this in this kind of burlap with cosmoline. You know, this is definitely new old stock. One each, bar socket, part number, code 85, 1952, December 1952. This thing was, and we're going to open one of these up right here, right now. Check this out, and let's see what it looks like inside. It's like a time machine from 1952. Okay, there we go. It's pristine as we thought. I think this, honestly, it's not cosmoline. What I think it is, I'm smelling, it has no smell, no odor. What I think this is it might be beeswax or some kind of wax that they put in there, but it really preserved it. Awesome. Now I just got to clean it up. It's got a little, you know, paint on there or whatever from what they used to use, but to clean this up, I'm going to use none other than the 50/50 acetone and tranny fluid, and we'll wipe this down and get all the rest of this off. I might have spoke too soon. I think there was cosmoline on there, because you could see this is what it looks like when you wipe that stuff off. It's almost like a tar that they, you know, a Vaseline with oil in it. It's very thick, and but you can see we got most of it off. We could scrape a little bit off here, but we're going to take it to the wire brush, okay, to make this more user-friendly. Okay. You could see here we took it down. Now, this is most likely the original finish here. You know, it's a wire brush lightly. It's got like it's a raw steel finish. You could see here there was no secondary. You know, they stamped this out. Again, threw it in a bin. This would be considered a true war finish. Nothing for cosmetics. You know, they leave out that whole step because they're doing for production. But it is made to good standards and stuff. But it's got, when have you ever seen an extension with forge lines on it? You know, that's always, they take that to the next step. So we got that. And this is probably also the war finish. So let's work on this. Take this one to the wire brush, and maybe we can get these into this could quite possibly be the biggest transformation in our wire brush history, the post-wire brush evaluation. And take a look at this. We took off all that, whatever it was. This is the time now when you start messing with that detent to see if we can get that to release, if it is, you know, with some 50/50, a little pressure. We'll try and get that to pop up if it will. The ball detent works. Again, I'll show you how to work that to that if you're having problems. But look at the knurling, came out beautiful. You know, we're going to take this to the next level, just because I use breaker bars and I like them, but we're not going to go nuts on it. We just want to make it that it'll look good in the toolbox. Let me show you how to work with that. This is actually something you should be doing to your ratchets as periodic maintenance. But this here, we don't have any rust or anything. It's clean. It's not frozen. So this would be, you would take a drop of 3-in-1 oil, place it over the ball detent, take a screwdriver, flat screwdriver blade, and just press down like this until the oil gets absorbed into the hole. You see that? A couple times up and down, and then wipe it off, and that's all you have to do. Now we're going to do the same thing on this one. We wire brushed it, make sure there was no dirt or anything around it. We're going to flood the area with 3-in-1 oil. 3-in-1 has a little bit of detergents in it and everything, so it will clean it, and then press it down. Let the oil drip in there. Couple squeezes up and down, and that's it. Bob's your uncle. Okay, remember I was telling you about the detent over here that holds, you know, or whatever. Well, this is what it was, and I'm glad that it was still in there, but it is broken. It was broken from, I guess, years ago, but you can see this is a piece of spring steel. Can you see that? Pardon, my hands are filthy, but this is a spring steel, and you could see the way it looks. Now, what this was, it would probably be bent like that, but to put a little pressure. So that piece of spring steel looked like that when it was new, had a little hump in it, would press into here, snap into place with those little half-moon circles, would hold the edges in there, and it would have a constant pressure on that ball so that it wouldn't be like it is. You know, that's unacceptable as far as it has to have some kind of pressure on there. So we'll have to make another one out of some spring steel and try and make it look now, I'm going to try and acquire that part, but until I do, I want to have a working breaker bar. So what I did is, this is used to come out of old windshield washers, and anytime I see a piece of metal, I grab it, stick it up in the rafters. This came in from an old bus windshield washer. It's stainless, and it's tempered, springs tempered. So I cut off a little piece using some shears, cut off a little piece, bent it in a configuration. You could see here, and it's going to have to be a little bit bent more in the middle, but you could see here what I'm going at here. And then I'll try and insert that in there and see if we can't get it to work. Now, you know my favorite part. Remember what this Williams breaker bar looked like before we started. And we're calling this project done. I think I'm one of the few people that still uses breaker bars on a regular basis. And you can see here, this is a Williams, and it's got the W and the diamond for their trademark. And the model number is S43. Made in the USA. Let's take a look at what we did. Of course, the knurling came out really nice, as it usually does. We polished up the back there, right? Nice job on that. Always like doing the back. Now, this thing took me, it's still not, I'm looking for one of these clips. If anybody knows where I can pick up one of those, I appreciate it, because, you know, I did something that it works, you know, but it's kind of crude. And here is the extension from 1952, okay, the NOS extension that I left in the regular war finish, which has some kind of coating on there, maybe a hot oil dipped or something, but you could see these do work, you know. It's very, and you can see here that the detent works, you know, so it's just moves easily, but it's still it does work. So my little clip worked, but there is some finish on here. So I don't know, do you like that finish? Do you like a war finish on there? Or do you like a high polish finish? Here I just did it in, like you would see, a consumer grade. Isn't that nice? Williams made great stuff. Their steel was fantastic. Scott, thank you so much. What a fantastic breaker bar. Okay, I have to tell you, that was a job. That spring clip took me all of 2.5 hours to, I made one, it broke, and, you know, bending spring steel is tough because, and then it was just a tough job, so it's so much easier to get a part like that. You know, that's a hard part to make, and then the worst part is getting it in there when it's all assembled, you know, and unless you have the right part, it probably clips right in. Next up, just wanted to mention that our buddy Ben Curfey from the UK has started a tool page, a tool restoration page, tool collectors page on Facebook. You know, we've been talking about doing this for a long time. Ben finally went around and did it. And so I think this is where we'll post all our challenge photos and everything like that. It's a good page we can all go to. Everybody knows Ben. So I'll post a link where it is. It's on Facebook, and check that out. Join up. And we'll all meet over there to post any pictures, any restorations you might have. It should be a nice place we can all meet and have a good time with. So that's like I said, that Ben is putting that together. Thanks so much for that, Ben. And last up, very special thanks to Scott Doerger for that fantastic I love those nameplates. Aren't they great? I want to emboss other things. Maybe some copper, maybe some aluminum, thick aluminum. I don't know, but let me know. Do you know any good embossing material? That would be great. I mean, this thing is so great. And also check out Scott's find that before it goes out of business, Denver, Colorado, that surplus tool place. It looks like really good. And I'm going to contact them because they have these little bombs hanging above the aisles to let you know what aisle you're in. They would like practice bomb. I got to get one of those. I got to get me one of those. If I have to take a road trip to Colorado to pick one up. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you have a great day, great weekend. And again, thanks, Scott. Bye-bye now.